Hey, I'm Craig with Easy Wood Tools. Finishing up a little goblet here. Show you a few techniques that we show you on our full-length video. Those are free if you want to just email us and ask us for a DVD. Just email easywoodtools.com or Craig at easywoodtools.com and put free DVD in the subject line and we'll send you one, the whole feature length. But today I've hollowed this out, done a little bit of work on the outside. I used a little mini finisher for hollowing this out. And then I stepped up to the full-size finisher. I like the larger cutter on a project like this just for those final passes. That larger cutter just makes it easier to level that surface off. Let's work down in the bottom here just a little bit. I'm pretty well done. It's getting pretty thin on me. So you're getting a little bit of chatter there. But actually I finished the inside of the cup and then I went down and did this stem. So I'm kind of backtracking here a little bit. When I was hollowing that out, it probably would have been a little bit easier if I had a longer tool. You know, with a short tool like the mini tools, I don't want to ever go more than about 2 inches over the tool rest. When I get to that point, I start losing my mechanical advantage or leverage. So if I were doing a much deeper project, I'd probably step up to the mid-size tool. That's the same cutter, same toolbar. If you cover it up here, they look the same. But I've just got a longer tool, more to hang on to if I were to go deeper. So let's switch around here to the outside. Now, I always like to use a secondary support when I can, whether it be a steady rest or a tailstock. On a project like this, I'm going to run the live center up in the cup here. Now, obviously, I don't want to run this point down in the bottom of my cup, so I got some paper towels I've just folded up. Just keep folding it in half and in half. I'm going to stick that down in there. That's going to soften the contact of that point. I got some cheap paper towels, so we need 2 of them in there. I'm just going to run the tailstock up and just snug it. That's going to give me just enough support here, whereas I do this stem work and the part off work, my piece isn't going to be wobbling around on me. So let's go ahead and finish reducing the diameter of this stem. Just got the mini finisher, that's the round cutter. Now while I'm right here, you'll notice I can't do these little detail cuts at the bottom of the cup with a round cutter. So what I had to do is use a different cutter shape. We could use the detailer, but the diamond cutter of the detailer has a little bit of radius to the tip of it, and that's great for most all your work, but when I need a good sharp inside corner, I'm going to choose the rougher with the square cutter on it. Let's show you what making that cut looks like. I'm going to come around the bottom of the cup here. So I stopped there and I just made another cut down to there. Do those little details. And now we'll just go right in with the round cutter and blend that. So that'd be some nice little details where the stem joins the cup. So when I get done with this, what I really wanted to show you today is the use of our detailer as a part-off tool. We get a lot of requests for part-off tools. And we don't really have technically a part-off tool made, but we can use the detailer as a part-off tool. I don't have too many rules of proportions on making a goblet, other than I always like the foot to be a little bit smaller in diameter than the cup. So I'm just going to eyeball that. Yeah, let's go a little bit more. Right about there. So we're making the foot smaller than the cup. Something like that. So I'm going to need some room to maneuver in here when I use this detailer. I've got to sacrifice about 5/8 of an inch of stock. And I know y'all are like me, you hate to throw away wood, but I like to have a good successful project more so than saving 5/8 of wood. So I'm going to have to sacrifice about this much of the wood to get this tool in here. To part this project away from the tenon. So that's about where the bottom's going to be. So I'll go ahead and bring the stem in. that's about the width of my foot there. And of course, if this was going to be a finished project, I would do my sanding before I parted it off from the tenon. I also like to do a little reverse angle cut on the foot of that pedestal. That gives a little bit of flare, or reverse flare if you will. So we're ready to part this off. Let's say we've sanded it, we went ahead and applied our finish. So let's take our mini detailer. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just working to clear out material to give this tool somewhere to go when I'm undercutting the bottom of this foot. So I had to clear this material away to give that tool somewhere to travel to. You know, this can be done with a regular skinny parting tool, but it's really hard to undercut that foot. I always want the foot undercut, a little bit hollowed out so it sits on the table nice. It's getting dark down in there. I've got to be very deliberate in thinking about what I'm doing when I'm working in this little confined space. So now that we've got it skinny down there, I'm just going to move the tailstock back. You see, good reason for having that tailstock support. We're getting very flimsy. I'm going to remove our paper towels as a cushion here. Now if I were to go ahead and just break this off now, which I easily could, it would tear out the wood fibers and make it very difficult to get that cleaned back up. You know, I could easily break off that little remaining stub there. So at this point, you may not be comfortable doing the technique I'm fixing to do. So at this point, you may want to just take a small, thin Japanese handsaw and saw that off, and then take a pocket knife or a carving chisel and smooth out the bottom. But I'm going to show you a little advanced technique here. Like taking the tool, getting it against my side here, nice and flat on the tool rest. And again, I do not recommend you try this unless you've got some serious wood turning skills that you've developed over the years. There we go. Now I'm still going to have just a little bit of nub there, no matter how good a tool control I have. So I'm just going to take my pocket knife. And like I tell people, always keep your pocket knife good and clean. That way when you cut your finger it won't get infected. So that's one way to use the detailer among many others. Seems like every time I demo I learn a new technique for using this tool. It's really cool. You do a lot of things with it you just can't with other tools. But maybe try it as a parting tool next time. Thanks for watching.